But so at one point, there's a bidding war between Rawkus and Tommy Boy, right? For you guys.
Can you believe that?
Hey, you guys were going to sign to Tommy Boy, but last minute, Rawkus offers the distribution deal for Eastern Conference, and that is the reason why you guys went with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had basically made the record. We made home field advantage on our own. Besides B-Boy Document, the remix, and maybe one or two others, we really had the whole thing done. And we, paid for it, we made it, and we owned it. And so when first, we were going to sign with Tommy Boy, but then, we were lucky enough to get involved with, through Shecky, Paul Rosenberg, who basically, he's Eminem's manager. I think people know that. And he went and worked with Rawkus and got us, not just that, but, got us, 3-album deal and singles. And, so it really was dope because we were doing the same thing Rawkus was doing. And, in 97, 98, that was like the pinnacle of selling physical media. And, culminating in 1999 when our record came out. So we were also in the right place at the right time with people, Rawkus getting money and, through priority and everything. So we, but I remember, meeting with Jared and, Brian and Jared, the owners of Rawkus. And I remember them like having the B-Boy Document and like holding it, and for some reason them being like, this is something like we would put out, and that's why we like really love it. Everything you're putting out is like what we would do, so it makes sense. And so it did, because we were our own A&R and we could come with stuff. And then we also had the Smut Peddlers, which was the second album, so they knew that they had at least two things, and we were a good investment.
Mm-hmm. And Paul Rosenberg was your guys' like manager early on, right? Pretty much, or was he just a lawyer?
He was our manager, and we had the song with Eminem done. When we're talking about this bidding war, so like we're delivering this album that has Mos Def on it, Eminem and Pharoah Monch and Kool Keith, like, so it was kind of. That held weight, it always does when you bring a label, a finished product, So I think that was big for us.
How did you guys meet Paul?
He was just like on the scene back then. Like he was living in New York, so he was like kind of part of that indie fat beat scene. It might have initially been through Sheck. I forget exactly, but I think it was just. You remember he?
Yeah, I think it was through Sheck, because I think, when him and Paul linked up, I remember just being, that was right when, he was, with them at that point. And so
that's right. Shecky had invested in Paul.
Right.
Like Paul was just like a corporate lawyer, like hating his life, but also managing Eminem.
Yeah.
So Shecky said, hey, why don't I invest in you? And you could leave your law firm and just concentrate on Eminem 100%. And then I'll, in return, have a back end of Eminem. Pause. And I don't even do pause. I don't know why I did that. So, but that's so Shecky and Paul had just started this new partnership. And then he was managing us also. So
how long did he end up managing you guys for?
I think until he just got too busy. And then we got handed off to Theo Settlemeyer, who's gone on to be a tremendous success in the industry. I think he's Drake's lawyer.
Wow. Gotcha. Yeah. So in 99, you guys released Home Field Advantage, your debut album, right? And you got, like you said, Pharoah Monch, Evidence, Mos Def, Cage, Kool Keith, Thurston Howell, right? And of course, Eminem. what I thought was crazy about that album though is the skit with Paul Rosenberg on there, right? And so it's like, did you guys record that skit? Because it says recorded from 97 to 99. So did you do the skit before M started doing skits with Paul?
I think so. Like like I don't know
Is
if
this another historical influence and moment that you guys had?
I don't know, because M's album came out before ours, didn't it?
Right. It came out in February of 99.
Right.
But if you
Right.
guys recorded during 97 to 99, I don't know if you guys had recorded that skit already. That's what I'm asking.
no, but it was just we were so ignorant. We were like we're going to do an AO skit and like with him, like so. I don't know. We asked him. He just did it. Like it's it's so great. It's just funny. It's just hilarious. It's silly.
What was it like working on that album?
It was incredible. It was just a lot of, meeting these peers and, having these experiences and, all these stories. And it was, it was great. And it was, very, we're lucky to be able to do it. And, it's a blessing. And, it was, as it was happening, it was just kind of life. But then it's like, as you look at it, it's just, incredible. Just because we were able to be in this time and be able to participate in it and, to have a place in it. And when they tell the story of it, like they'll say, they'll mention us to whatever extent. So, it's something, it was crazy and it was like a dream come true, to be honest.
For me, it was like finding that perfect balance of like producing, but also executive producing it. You know what I mean? And so, like, of course, I had to put my ego to the side when it came to other producers coming in and doing songs, but I knew that that's what was going to make the best product at the end, So even having other people come in and do scratches, I was just half an executive producer, half a producer, also a DJ, also working as a nightclub DJ. So like working as a nightclub DJ in that time in New York, you were listening to these like huge, perfect records that were being made in New York. You know what I mean? And so there was like this natural kind of, a little bit, I remember in interviews back then, I used to like say like, oh yeah, we do like Jiggy Backpack because like B-Boy Document and Dick Starbuck, they're kind of like attempts at like whatever our version of a club record is, So, so that's like kind of what we were doing. Then all these influences coming in at once, being influenced by the records we grew up on, being influenced like we were both going to clubs 4 or 5 times a week, so there was a lot of it kind of pulling us in different directions and stuff. But I remember like, having our friend Reese do beats and of course the Alchemist beats on the album. And it was just kind of pulling together all our friends at the time. And I remember though, like executive producing / producing was challenging, but also fun.